Hi, good day everyone. My name is Okechukwu Joshua Otazi, and today we are going to be talking about the match function that is available here in Excel. The last time we met, we talked about the VLOOKUP function, and we talked about the HLOOKUP function, and then we delved into talking about the lookup function. Then we talked about the difference between the exact and then the approximate match. Alright, so today, friends, we're going to be continuing in the same line. We're going to go to formulas, lookup and references, and then we are going to be talking about the match function right now. We've talked about the HLOOKUP, we've talked about the VLOOKUP, and we've talked about the lookup function and lots of other lookup functions. We are going to be talking about the match function right now, and then next we're going to be talking about the index function. Then we're going to look at how we can mix these two functions in order to use them for more powerful data problem solving here in Excel. Alright, so friends, at this juncture right now, friends, I'm just going to highlight this section where I see match functions under my lookup and reference in the formulas tab. And now if I highlight this, you can see Excel is telling me that what the match function does is that it returns the relative position of an item in an array that matches a specified value in a specified order. Alright, so friends, right now if you look at the match function, one of the things you need to feed the match function in with is the lookup value, the lookup array, and then the match type. Now once these three values are set, now the match function, what it does basically is that it gives you a row number, all right, where a particular lookup value belongs to, all right, in a particular array. In other words, given this our data set which we got from PwC, this is an entire data set. If you look over here, including the headers row, all right, you can see that this exists in the 4th row, all right, and this exists in the 5th row, this exists in the 6th row. All right, so friends, the row number is what it gives you. All right, now one of the ways in which this becomes useful is that, for example, most of the time we can't just look over here and determine the row number where a particular lookup value belongs to. All right, so friends, because sometimes our header may not start from the 1st row. All right, sometimes our header may start from maybe the 10th row or the 11th row or the 12th row. Or I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So in this juncture right now, our header didn't start from the 1st row. All right, so our header can start from any particular row. We can just have some description, some meta tags over here describing our data set. Then our data will start from somewhere around this section. All right, so it becomes very much difficult to determine the appropriate row number where a particular lookup value belongs to. All right, so friends, in order to find the exact lookup value where a particular the exact row number where a particular lookup value belongs to, we have to use the match function. All right, so what the match function does is that it looks at the array, the entire data set, and when it looks at this data set, it's going to determine where the row number where a particular lookup value belongs to. All right, so friends, at this juncture, without wasting much of your time, let's just delve in, and I'm going to show you how to use the match function. All right, so friends, I'm going to just double tap into this particular cell where we have the first row number 1 to fill in. All right, so I'm going to say equal to, and then I'm going to type in match. You know how we do this, and now match function appears. All right, so the first thing it's asking me for is the lookup value. All right, so we have to specify what are we trying to look up in a particular data array. All right, so what's the lookup value? The lookup value, we are trying to look up the row number where Colombia belongs to. All right, so I'm just going to click on Colombia and then put my comma sign. And then the next thing is the lookup array. The lookup array talks about the data set, the entire, what table, what column number are we trying to look up this particular value. All right, so I'm going to come to my data set. You can see over here, just right at the bottom over here, we see data. I'm going to come to this page where I have my data, and then I'm just going to click on this first cell containing the header country. I'm going to hold my control key, hold my shift key, and press my down arrow key. That's the easiest way to just highlight the entire column. All right, so I'm just going to highlight that column. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this formulas bar, put a comma sign, then the next thing is going to ask me, I'm just going to clean off this. I don't like putting those references. All right, so the next thing is going to ask me for is the match type. All right, so the match type, what match type am I trying to use? I've already taught you how to use the true and false match type. That is the approximate match type, and then the exact match type. All right, so right now we're going to be dealing with an exact match type. All right, so we want it to give us the exact column where this particular data set belongs. Remember, in finding the row number as the exact row number, sorry, we want it to give us the exact row number where this particular lookup value belongs to. All right, so in finding the exact row number, friends, remember that we included the header as one of the rows. All right, so the header is going to read as the first row. All right, so every other row beginning from the data set is going to start from the 2nd row down to the 3rd row, the 4th row, and the likes. All right, so I'm just going to close my brackets at this juncture, and then I'm going to click on enter. Now it's telling me that this particular value belongs to the fourth row. If I go to my data set right now, this is the first row, this is the second row, this is the third row, this is the fourth row. And now you can see that Excel gave me the right row number for this particular lookup value. All right, so friends, that's basically how we use the match function to find the row number where a particular value belongs to. The row number is what it basically gives you. Now, some other thing they can give you, it can give you the column number also. All right, so what it just does is it outputs a number. All right, it can be a row number or a column number depending on how you specify a particular Excel function. It can give you the row number, telling you this data set belongs to row number 4, belongs to column number 5. Right? It can give you the intersection point of a particular data set. All right, so friends, at this juncture right now, what we did was get the row number where this particular value belongs to, and so we want to replicate it for the remaining part of our table, and it's quite easy to do this. We've done this before. All right, so I'm just going to click on this particular data set. Now, before doing this, I'm going to have to lock this entire data set. Otherwise, it's going to shift on me. All right, I want the B4 to keep increasing to B5, B6, so we don't want it to be constant. But for the array, like it's looking up these values. All right, I want it to be fixed. I don't want it to shift. So I'm going to hold my function key and click on F4. Of course, you know how we do this. I'm going to just click on Enter. All right, so right now my value remain 4. But this time around, as I drag down, that is come to the bottom right, you see a cross sign left. Click and drag down to the end. And now you can see I have the entire row numbers for these particular sets of country, or randomly chosen set of country that we have in our data set. All right, so friends, that's basically how we use the match function to extract the row number. Now, this other question is asking us from our data table, including the header as your first row, it's telling us what column number is the sales channel on. In other words, given this data set, you can see over here, this is the first column, this is the second column number, third, fourth, fifth. Now, this is the sixth column. All right, so we expect the Excel to give us a value for a value containing number 6, telling us this belongs to the sixth column. All right, the last time we did, what we were checking was the row number. All right, but this time around we are looking at the column. All right, so there are different ways in which we can specify these functions. All right, so at this juncture, I'm going to double tap inside here without wasting much of your time. Equals to, I'm going to click on match. All right, so it pops up. I'm just going to double tap on this, and then the lookup value, I'm trying to look up sales channels, so I'm just going to click on that, put my comma sign, look up array. I'm going to come over to this data set over here. All right, so now that I'm in this data set over here, friends, what I want to do right now is make it more easy for Excel to locate the column number where this data set belongs. All right, so what I'm going to do is to highlight the entire heading. All right, this first row. All right, so what Excel is going to do automatically is that Excel can't search for it row wise anymore. It will have to search for it column wise, because we just have a single row and multiple columns. All right, so at this juncture, remember I have to lock this cell so that I don't get to shift. You don't really have to do that because we just have one value we're looking out for, but most times it's best practice to always lock this particular data. All right, so I'm going to put my comma sign, then I'm going to say I want an exact match. All right, I want an exact match, close my brackets, click on enter. Now it's telling me this belongs to column number 6, and if we go over here and check our data set, 1 2 3 4 5 6, definitely the sales channel belongs to the column number 6. All right, so friends, that's basically how we use the match function to get the column number. All right, so friends, the next thing we're going to be talking about right now basically is how to use the match function to get the column number. As you can see over here, we have a particular set of sample data set, and now what happened over here was that I actually had to scatter the data set. I just picked a particular distributor, and then I took the distributor's ID. Now the month sold, remember the month sold was supposed to be somewhere around column number 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. The 8th column is supposed to be around the 8th column. So what I did was I brought this number over here to the second column, and then I took this country to some other different column. I just scattered the data set and then took a particular row, and then this was the data set we have over here. All right, so particularly, friends, what we used was 23291. All right, so this particular data set over here was the data set we used for that particular example. All right, so we have the distributor's name over here, then the distributor's ID over here. So I just took this value over here and brought it closer here, took this one far away, and then what I want to do is I want to know if Excel can exactly pick up the right column number. In other words, can Excel, if I take this particular distributor's name over to this section, can Excel look up this particular table and tell me this particular distributor's name in this data set belongs to the second column? In other words, coming over here, this is the distributor's name. I want Excel to print number 2 here. All right, meaning this is the distributor's name, right? So Excel is supposed to print the number 2 for me on this particular section, telling me on this data set this belongs to the second column. The name was found on the second column. All right, so 23291. The name was found on the second column. All right, so for the country, all right, although the country over here is on the third column. I want Excel to print the number 3 here and tell me the country was found on the third column. All right, so here I want Excel to print the number 7, I believe. Sorry, number 8, telling me this is on the 8th column on this data set. Number 8th column on this data set. All right, so that's basically what I want Excel to do. Print the number 8 over here and tell me this is number 8 on this part, is on the 8th column on the data set we are looking up for. This is number 1 on the data set we are looking up for. So that's basically what I want Excel to do. I want to use Excel to look up the column number where this particular data set falls. All right, so the way we do this is I'm just going to double tap inside here, equals to match. I'm going to be fast with this. All right, so the lookup value right now is this. All right, so I just click on the lookup value, put my comma sign. The lookup array is the data set where we want Excel to search these particular items. And so I'm going to just come over to data. All right, 23291. This particular row is the data set we're looking for. All right, so I'm just going to highlight this, and then I haven't highlighted that. Remember, we have to lock our data set. So I'm just going to highlight the B12 to L12, and then I'm going to hold my function key and click on F4. All right, so that's the way I do lock this. All right, so now that I've done that, all right, I can put my comma sign still on the formula bar. I'm just going to choose exact match. All right, so now that I've clicked the exact match, I just close my bracket and click on enter. All right, so friends, basically you can see right now we have a column number 1 for this, and as I drag down to the end, that is, come to the bottom right, you see a cross sign, left click, drag down to the end, you can see different column numbers being printed. All right, now you can see over here that this is telling us that as regards to this data set where we are looking up this value, right, this value appeared on the second column. In other words, if we look on the second column, we can find Jelani or Donnell. All right, I'm sorry for my pronunciation. All right, I'm really not pronouncing that really good. All right, so friends, but basically what it's just telling us is that on the second column, basically we will find the name Jelani or Donnell appearing. All right, so second thing is something else. It's also telling us is that on the 8th column we should find the number 8, telling us the months where the goods were sold. All right, so on the 8th column we should find the number 8. All right, for that same Jelani or Daniel. All right, so we should find the number 8, which is this. All right, so that's basically what it's telling us. All right, so the next thing again is telling us that on the first column we should find this number on the first column of this our data set. So on the first column we should find a number like that. All right, so this is the number. All right, so that's basically what it's doing. It's matching a particular value with a column number. All right, so on the 4th column we should find data 800 on that for this particular person. All right, so on the 4th column we should find data 800, and this is it. All right, so basically that's how we use the match function. It's a powerful tool to find the row number and the column number where a particular data set exists. All right, so friends, sometimes I have already shown you that sometimes this your data set that is highlighted over here can be the place where this particular match function becomes useful. Just for example, now I'm going to drag this data set over to this section. Now if you look at this data set over here, you can't exactly tell what row number this data set belongs to by just looking over here and just say this is row no, this is assuming this is to be treated as the first row. All right, so it becomes not too easy, all right, friends, to tell what row number this particular data set belongs to. You can't just click on this data set and say it belongs to row number 50 as it relates to this data set. It doesn't belong to row number 50. All right, so the way you do it to find the row number, you have to first count from here: row number 1, row number 2, row number 3. Now forgetting this empty space, row number 4. All right, so it becomes very much tedious to count down to somewhere around here. All right, sometimes we work with big data as data scientists, and so it becomes very much tedious. So what we want to do basically is just to get a click and then find the row number sometimes. All right, but sometimes it's not quite easy that way. And so when your data is not doesn't start from the first row or the first column, sometimes you want to use the match function to get the exact row and exact column where a particular data set belong. All right, so friends, that's how we use the match function here in Excel. All right, friends, without wasting much of your time, I'd like you to delve into your worksheet and practice what you've learned. Thank you so much.